What's up, guys? JJ Fade 23. I'm going to do a review of tickets on watch today. There's 3 tickets that I had 1, 2, 3, about 5 things on watch today. And I'm just going to go over what happened. I was on the mic today. I'm not on the microphone every day anymore because my voice just gets worn out. But I was on the mic today, so I'll show you what I did and go over my trades. All right, first things first, right? As always, gap scanner in the morning. I'm always looking for small caps, gappers, and then my large caps I look at from a watch list the night before, a permanent watch list I call it. Go over, I look just to find setups that should be good setup for today, and I'll go over those too. All right, first things first. HSDC, I see it popping up. Now, guys, I take one look at this. I say, wow, this is what we see all the time now. Very beat down charts, right? If you zoom out, very, very beat down charts. But in this current market, not many small caps have been able to get past the first couple pivots. So we're gapping up right here. Look, what do we have? We have right here a very recent super high volume pivot, guys, right here. 125 million, super high volume pivot, 145. All right. So first thing we do, we look at the scanner. I take a look at the chart, see if it has any good pivots. And then again, always red flag criteria. As you can see, guys, 8:22 a.m. I'm already doing this. I'm going through my red flag criteria. I'm making my plan. So as you can see, we had the gap at the time. The gap percent was 85%. The gap stats 82%, which that means 82% close below the open. I love that. Anything over 75% is great. That means 3 out of 4 close below the open. No red flags here. Fluff news. Where are the pivots? Entry pivot. The only pivot I liked here. Look, 145 pivot. All right. What's the strategy? Trigger at key level. Okay, so I know this stock's good to trade. We're in a current fader market. We don't have any red flags. We have good gap stats. All right, so now above this pivot, guys, where's it going to go? Who knows? We have a little tiny gap to fill here. We have a huge volume gap here. So who the hell knows we could go above this? So this is the only place that I care. Right here, 145. A little bit of a thing here and very recent high volume pivot. So now, we take it back to the intraday setup. Now, what are we doing here? Stock market opens. I told everybody in the room, guys, you have to be careful off the open when you get a dip down first. Whenever you get a flush first, it traps shorts, it could get a bigger squeeze. And I quickly noticed that we had this rising channel looking thing, right? We had this rising channel. So now, guys, I didn't draw with a channel like that. I kind of did it like this with a trend line. But as you can see, it's like a rising wedge, whatever you want to call it. Not really a channel, but a wedge. So you had a lower trend line here, which we did a fake breakdown below, which causes a big spike. And then we go back up to the upper trend line. Now the pivot was right here at 145, plus we have a $0.50 at 150, which is also right around the pre-market high. Okay? So I'm not shorting it while it's ripping straight up here. Look at this volume. Up to 4 million, 3 million, 4 million. We got a fake move down, and now it's squeezing, 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 squeezing. So I'm watching it. Blows through the pivot, blows through a $0.50. Now it's over the levels that I was watching, so I'm not going to take it up here. Once I see this big rejection candle, it falls back below the pivot, I short it. Risking 160, cover into the washes. Now, guys, I don't love trading stocks below $1.50, so I was like, yes, everything's good, but the price, at the time, the price was right on top of $1. Another thing I tell everybody, when a stock goes over $1 like this, you have to be careful. It has a hard time sometimes going back under $1. So, guys, you always want to have up move to short and then down move. When you have a down move first, you have to be careful on the short because it could squeeze a little farther than if it just goes up first. It traps shorts and it causes trap, squeeze, and stop outs. So don't fall for that down move and chase it off the open. So wait for the spike or at least an attempt to pop and stuff. Anyways, that was the setup on that one. And chart on that one. So next we had ASST, which I wasn't as fond about, and I'll tell you why. Again, you guys, right? Another super beatdown chart that's just been running. Now, this is the thing I didn't love about this one, right? We had a lot of pivots. We were a little right above this pivot, right? Then we had another pivot right here. We had multi-touch pivot. We had the ultimate low pivot right here at 148 plus a $0.50, right? Which is also a couple multi-touches. And then we had a really nice multi-touch pivot here at 178 area. And as you can see, guys, right? Multi-touch, we have another pivot right here. and then higher and higher and higher. There's a lot of pivots. But as I said before, we're in a current market where you're not getting a lot of you're not getting stocks extending to higher pivots. They're failing at the pivots, at the first couple pivots. So again, pre-market plan 822, price 150. That's a red flag. Pre-market volume was super high. I don't red flag that because a lot of times super high pre-market volume, they still just dump. So I don't red flag that. But the float was 1.5. Less than 3 million is a red flag. So this has 2 red flags. No other red flags. I didn't see any news, which is good. They didn't have much cash left. We were 13% extended off the 1 minute 200. So again, my notes. No news. Good gap stats, but cheapy with tight halt bands. And chart shows extensions. A lot of times it extends, right? But so at least to 150. So guys, if you look, we're opening at 113. I want to at least extend to that pivot. As you can see right here, see extension needs squeeze to at least $1.50 or higher. Because we had pivots at 148, then the next one was at 175 or 178. So again, trigger at key level, you guys. I'm looking for a trigger at whatever level the trigger happens at, all right? First is 150, then 175. I don't go marking all the pivots higher until the stock gets there. I'm not going to waste my time doing that. So the first levels, 150, actually 148 was the pivot. And then above that, again, was 175 or 178. So guys, again, we had to move down first, right? Move down first and then squeeze. Now look at this, you guys. This stock squeezed 65%, you guys. If you do a back test, you see how many stocks squeeze over 50% in the whole year. It's not that many. You know, as this thing goes 25, 35, 40, the higher it goes, the higher chance that it's going to run out of gas soon because most of these don't go this high. So like, let's say you're showing a 25% spike, but you know 50% of stocks can spike 25%. Now you're showing a 50% spike, but you know only 25% stocks go that high. Now it's getting there 75%, only 10% stocks. So it's getting, right? It's getting extended more and more and more. And it was on also a really lot of volume like most cheapies. But now look, guys. Again, trigger. We're looking for a trigger, right? We're coming up now, close to my level. Right here, it's not close enough because I want to risk off 150, which is the half dollar. I'm not going to take it freaking. If you start taking it right here, you're already like 10%, maybe 7% below your pivot. That's too much. But look what happens right here. We have a high created right here. We have a high created right here. Then we spike up close to the pivot and we do a fake breakout. That right there is a fake breakout trigger at or just below a key level. So that's your short entry. And then it comes down, comes down, comes down, goes all the way to the 1 minute 200 and the 5 minute 200 targets. So I didn't take this trade because I was watching large caps and also it was getting later in the day. I think it was like, what time was that around? Yeah, it was getting past 10 o'clock, near 10 o'clock. So, but that was a great trigger at key level if you're still paying attention. And I did plan it for the room to take that. I just didn't take it myself. I was watching other large caps, which I'll talk about right now. MSTR, I was a little salty about today. Can't lie. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. MSTR. Okay, ready? As you look, guys, my plan on MSTR. Look at this thing's been a beast, right? Been a beast. As you see, it's curling off the weekly EMAs. I love this strong move up, flag off the weekly 8, and then it pulls back to the 21. Pulls back to the 21, pops up, comes back, makes a higher low. Rips now, makes a new high. We have what we have here on the daily chart is, look. What we have here on the daily chart is like a double bottom or a cup and handle, double bottom, whatever. So it didn't hold this double bottom breakout level, which I wasn't very happy about. But as you guys know, I'm always watching gap fills with EMAs that I like. So this is a strong move up, flag off the 8. Now, where I screwed up was we had the daily 4 here too, which I don't usually trade off the 4. I only trade when we're extended off the 4. Like I always say, when you get off the 4, it comes back to it. Off the 4, it comes back to it. Off the 4, it comes back to it. That's the baby blue line. Look, comes off the 4, comes back to it. Comes off the 4, comes back to it. So what happened was we had this powder blue 4 line right here. We'll put this powder blue. It was a little lower at the time. We'll call it right there. We'll dot that and make it blue so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, we had that there, and then we had the gap fill level plus the daily 8 was creeping right here, which I love the daily 8. Strong move up, flag off the 8 happens all the time. So now I'll show you what I did. What I did wrong. Okay, we got this giant flush when we came down to the 4 right here. I originally said I wanted it near 370. Why did I want 370? Because it had a gap to fill. Remember, 370 was closer to the 8 and had a gap to fill. I love when stocks fill a gap and it's a strong move up. It's a pullback on a strong uptrend into a gap fill and EMA. I love that. But I jumped the gun a little because the extension was so big off the open. It was such a big move down. When we came down to the daily 4 right here, as soon as we went like this, up, down, and reclaimed this level right here, as soon as we made a low right here and broke it and reclaimed it, I went long. All right? So it came up, it came down, it popped up. Now, as always, I'm looking at the EMA, so I sold some right here, and then I said, all right, guys, if this breaks these lows, it's going to go back to the lows probably. So if it breaks these lows, just cut the rest even. So I got a couple dollars right here. Think about like 377 to it was like $3 I got right there. And then I put my stop right below here, which my entry was like right here. So a little bit on that. But if I had waited to my original, if I had waited to where I wanted to, down to the gap fill level, guys, remember, the gap fill level was right here, which I usually mark these gold. The gap fill was right there, plus we had the 8 right there. So if I had waited to the gap fill level, I could have done the same thing I did right here, right? The stock comes down, it makes a low, it goes up, it makes a low, but then it's a fake breakdown and reclaims this low right here, all right? So we have a fake breakdown trigger and a reclaim of the gap fill, and I could have went long right in here with my stop below here and then got the trade that I was actually looking for, the whip back up on the daily chart, which kind of sucks because I made money right here, but I didn't get in the trade that I wanted. It broke new lows, and then by this time, it's like past 10 o'clock too. I'm like, I was still thinking about taking this again, but I'm like, you know what? I got to walk my dog and go. But I should have stayed with it. I was so close to taking it again. So that kind of sucks. If I hadn't jumped the gun right here, I would have definitely taken it right here. And then you guys see right here, you have like a trend break. Guys, you don't have to guess. You don't have to guess, okay? You have your key level on the daily chart. You have a trend break. You also have a fake breakdown and reclaim. You also have a 1 minute inverted head and shoulders. Take that. Take that long right there. Risk below. You have a trigger at key level. So that was a monster trade. And you can expect on the daily chart to get this kind of on a strong uptrend in daily chart here, a big wick down. It's not just going to blow through all these EMAs that easy. That doesn't really happen unless it tests them a bunch of times. This has a high chance of whipping back up, especially when SPY is going up. So I porked that trade. I'm a little annoyed. It could have been a huge risk-reward trade. Think about that, right? You buy this right here. You get this fake breakdown reclaim. You buy it right here. 370 risking $3, right? 373 is 1 R, 376, 2 R, 379, 3 R, 4 R, 5 R, 6 R. It went all the way up to 400 and something, 7, 8. You could have had an 8 R. Massive trade. Very annoying. And then also, guys, I had on the watch list BA for a long. Now, BA, there's nothing I can do about this. Off the open, I don't chase large caps, guys. Off the open, I needed this to dip a bit, and it just opened and started ripping. Now, I could have switched my style. I could have switched my setup because I have plenty of setups. I could have switched it to a strong move up, flag off the 8, which we got right here, or the first pullback to the 5-minute 21, flag break, which we got right here. So we got 2 good setups, but I was so pissed off that I missed the spike, I didn't even stick with it. So right here. 5-minute shot, strong move up, flag off the 8, boom. And then the next setup, 5-minute 21, you even got like a nice doji candle. You got like a rounded bottom right here, inverted head and shoulders, and a trend break. So that could have been a perfect long right there, 173. And not even, look at this. You could have, literally, after 5-minute 21, you could have longed it right here. 173.50, risking not even friggin' 50 cents. That would have been a massive trade. But the reason why I was trading this in general, guys, why I had it on my watch list, because look, if you zoom out, I've had this drawn on here for the longest time. I was waiting for this to come down here, Somehow I missed my price alert when we came down here. And not only that, look, we gave a fake breakdown of this lower wedge line. Whenever you get a fake breakdown of this and reclaim, it's probably going to push back to the upper trend line at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if this slowly makes its way back up to here somewhere. So that was a little disappointing that I missed that one. But what are you going to do? You can't nail them all. Sometimes, guys, I'm on the microphone. I'm reading questions in chat. I'm looking at 6 monitors. I'm looking at my scans. It is what it is. I just make my peace with it's not going to nail everything. But all in all, good day on HSDT. And MSTR, even though it ended up being a scalp and not really what I wanted, but what are you going to do? I'm watching Netflix now for tomorrow for our earnings gap up. Guys, problem with Netflix, I hope it doesn't gap up too far, right? As you can see, Netflix is going to be gapping over all-time highs, all right? Gapping over all-time highs. It's already at 996. 1,000 is a huge resistance level because it's 1,000. It could act as resistance. Now, that's not good. I was hoping Netflix, if we got an earnings play, we would only gap up to maybe 950 or 960, and then we get, what happens at that? We get a dip, breakout retest, and then rip for multiple days on earnings. We still could get that, but knowing that it's already up near 1,000 makes it a little more difficult. I like how we had this big, huge topping tail, then a gap up. That could be a lot of shorts jammed. It's also all-time breakout. I'm just hoping, guys, if it doesn't give me a close enough gap to be able to dip and rip it off the breakout level, then I'll just watch for the 10-minute EMAs, pre-market data off. I'll end up going like this. The next setup in progression of my setups will be this. I'll have to wait for these to catch up. Eventually, during the day, they'll catch up. It will gap up big. It will slowly go sideways if it doesn't just rip. If it does slowly go sideways, comes to the 10-minute EMAs, I'll look to long it. Or the only other thing you can do is let the daily candle set itself up and then try to get a higher low on day 2 or something off of near the low of day 1 candle if that happens. We have to see what comes tomorrow. But my favorite earnings setup is when it gaps a little bit over the all-time breakout and then we get a dip and a bottom tail on the daily and then we start ripping for 2, 3, 4 days on earnings. So we'll see. Anyways, I don't like to make these videos too long. As always, I'm not a financial advisor. Thank you guys very much.